I want to talk about the current status of the console makers, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox. But first, I just want to highlight what EA CEO Andrew Wilson said in a recent investors call regarding Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Our relentless focus on execution and delivery was not the financial performance we wanted or expected. Leader in global entertainment, great title. Let me provide more context on the quarter and share actions. Blockbuster storytelling strategy is built on three: create an authentic story experience for the core audience. Innovative, groundbreaking features. High quality launch out beyond the core audience. Games need to increasingly seek shared world features and high quality narratives in this beloved category. Age had a high quality launch and was well not resonate with a broad enough audience in this highly competitive market. Now allow me to translate that incredibly buttoned up nonsense corpo speak response into common parlance. Whoopsies, game fucking sucked. Ball up top? Okay, here in 2025, I've got thoughts, feelings, concerns regarding the three consoles, and I'm going to try to distill that in this video. This is not a comprehensive look at their histories or anything like that. This is a vibe check for how I think they're looking at the start of 25, and a bit amusing about the future. So I'm going to bestow a title on each of the three. One will be awarded most exciting. Another will be awarded most boring. And one will be awarded most interesting. Obviously, none of them are locked into these titles. It's just where I think they are right now. And I think we'll be able to revisit this in the back half of the year and see how it's all played out. See if I still feel the same way or if I was way off. But feel free to throw your thoughts into the comment section. I'd honestly love to know how y'all are feeling about the current state of the big three. Okay, so up first, Nintendo. Now, they are about to launch the Nintendo Switch 2 with backwards compatibility. And look, this console really just feels like a bigger, better Switch, to which I say, hell yeah. I mean, what else would people want? The Switch has been an awesome console, but it is showing its age in both performance and resolution. But the form factor, the switchiness, has lost none of its appeal. So just upgrading it, yeah, that's the right move. I don't want Nintendo to stick some sort of wacky jack-in-the-box crank on it or make it stick to my face or tenderly yet tenaciously massage my ass cheeks just for the sake of being different. Besides, according to this here patent, the joysticks are in fact going to be able to behave like mice. That's pretty cool. I can see this working really well for games like Fire Emblem or Mario Maker, where point and click might be the perfect way to play. Beyond that, this is Nintendo, and I'm curious to see what they do here. More than any other gaming company, I think Nintendo is the most likely to treat a mouse's function like a toy, and that could open up a lot of possibilities. Like what? Well, imagine a game that does like some sort of hungry hippo move. Only not stupid, like what I just said. The point is, this is Nintendo, baby. Let's see what they do. My one caveat here is that the triggers on the Switch 2 don't look analog, which is a major bummer, if true. I don't understand why Nintendo hasn't adopted them yet. Mark my words, if we get achievements on Switch before we get analog triggers, I'm going to be annoyed. We don't need trophies, we need triggers with sensitivity, and I will defend that hill all day. In any case, it's very hard to be more exciting than a brand new console and the possibility of all the new games that entails, especially since we're going to know so little until the April Direct. So for that reason, because the Switch 2 is approaching, descending upon us mortals shrouded in the mystical and mysterious fog of the unknown, I award Nintendo the most exciting console maker at the start of 2025. Next up, Xbox. Microsoft has been porting all their games to PC since Quantum Break, all the way back in 2016. But last year saw them porting former Xbox exclusives to Switch and PS5, and the floodgates are truly open now, with even an Xbox mainstay like Forza Horizon 5 scheduled to launch on PS5 this spring. Everything is coming over to other consoles, with Xbox head Phil Spencer making it clear in recent interviews that they are not only going to be supporting the Switch 2 with Xbox games as well as the PS5, but that they are not willing to count any titles out for possible ports. So in a world where you can get all the Xbox games elsewhere on PlayStation, on Steam, on Nintendo, plus all the other games that aren't on an Xbox, what then is Xbox's big plan to keep hardware in play? Beats the fuck out of me! And that is very intriguing. Xbox has spent like $100 billion acquiring publishers like Activision Blizzard King and Bethesda and all the rest, and that has led to them being the #1 game publisher in December, with 64% of that spend coming from PlayStation. Nonetheless, Xbox execs have doubled down on the fact that they are releasing new console hardware and a handheld device. But still, if Xbox offers no new games that aren't available elsewhere, where do they fit in? Phil Spencer has said they want to sell hardware based on the features of the hardware. But if that's true, why is there a PS5 Pro and not an Xbox Pro? I suspect that Xbox is taking a pretty big gamble. You see, Phil Spencer has also said that losing the Xbox One PS4 generation was the worst race to lose because that's when digital libraries were built, by and large. In effect, Xbox is operating under the assumption that console gamers are entrenched in their respective ecosystems. PlayStation users are never going to switch to being a primary Xbox user when they have already spent so much money building a library on Sony's platform. And if you follow that logic through, I think Xbox is counting on the reverse being true. Xbox gamers are not going to suddenly abandon their libraries and move to PlayStation, at least not in the short term and not en masse. Over several generations, though, one would have to assume that Xbox will continue shrinking with this strategy. But what if there aren't several generations left? What if in 10 years we actually are all gaming on cloud apps, or the walled garden ecosystems of today have disappeared across console and mobile? If that happens, then Xbox is in position to be at the top of the heap. But if that doesn't happen, if console exclusivity remains king and mobile stores stay locked away from Microsoft's reach, Xbox may just have to watch its hardware base slowly shrink into further irrelevancy. There is a wildcard nature to this gamble. It's an unpredictable leap towards the future, and whether Xbox succeeds or fails, it's likely to continue garnering the most discussion and debate across gaming. And so, for that reason, Xbox, you old so-and-so, I award you Most Interesting Console Maker at the start of 2025. Okay, so you've probably concluded that the only award left for PlayStation is Most Boring. And you're probably thinking, that can't be right. It is right. Search your heart. Let me explain. Yes, PlayStation is roundly outselling Xbox currently, and with the imminent release of GTA 6, they aren't likely to slow down this year, even alongside the launch of the Switch 2. Can you imagine if Switch 2 gets GTA 6, though? But for all of PlayStation's hardware dominance, that momentum largely comes from the goodwill of the PS4 era. PlayStation is the default for much of the console space. However, they really haven't done much in this current generation to maintain their standing. Because at the end of the day, it isn't about the hardware, it's about games. And when it comes to games, Sony's first party is a tire fire, and their high-profile second-party exclusives are likely to become more expensive to acquire. When even companies like Square Enix are denouncing exclusivity for a multi-platform approach, it stands to reason that PlayStation is going to have to pay out the nose for established companies to stick to exclusivity, especially if the Switch 2 pulls as much third-party support as I suspect it will. And that dwindling pool of exclusives is actually likely to shore up Xbox's approach. Will large numbers of people abandon their Xbox libraries for the 2 or 3 annual exclusives Sony is likely to put out in future years? Maybe among enthusiasts, but I have my reservations that it's going to do much to shift the casual crowd that's primarily focused on like free-to-play and sports titles. And right there is what I'm talking about. I'm trying to talk about PlayStation, and I just drift back into Xbox land because it is so much more interesting to think about the weirdo Xbox strategy. PlayStation, as successful as the hardware is, the software side of things is in a sad state right now. And not in the fun, what are they thinking way that Xbox is stumbling around in the dark, but the sad, oh no, I'm watching Luke Skywalker drink blue milk kind of way. SIE has lost their way. Their big live service push has failed spectacularly. Acquiring Bungie was a bust. Concord might be the biggest flop in history. They have canceled games from the likes of Naughty Dog, Insomniac, and Bend, among others. They've shut down several studios. They had Bluepoint, a remake studio, working on a God of War live service instead of, what they're actually good at. And of all the franchises for a live service to wear like an IP skin suit, they picked God of War. That is a hilariously bad idea because it's not like you could have every player running around as Kratos. And why would you want to be any other character in that universe? Imagine, for example, making a Batman live service. If everybody can't be Batman, then logically nobody can. So people have to play as non-Batmans? Who would ever bet on a live service idea like that? Especially from a studio known for a completely different type of output. And the depressing thing is, PlayStation isn't likely to do something crazy and erratic out of left field. They aren't going to start porting games onto Xbox. They aren't going to start buying major publishers. They're going to buckle down and start making the types of games their studios are known for. And yes, probably keep a few live service titles in the fire as well, because there's no way they can ignore the potential cash cow that is a live service success. But cleaning up this mess the old-fashioned way of making great games is going to take years to recover from. And while it's the right thing to do, it's also boring. Bend Studios put out Days Gone in 2019. Guess we'll see what they do next in 2030? Waiting is boring. And with the time current development takes for the type of tentpole releases PlayStation makes, these studios are getting maybe only one shot per console unless they're named Insomniac. Other than remakes, Naughty Dog's only PS5 game is probably going to be Intergalactic. And who knows when that's even going to release? Canceling projects the way Sony has been means it's not a crazy thing to speculate some of their teams might miss the PS5 entirely while they spin up new projects. I guess we'll just wait and see. So yeah, PlayStation is the most boring console maker going into 2025. Well, I'm Jeff. This was Press Pause. Thanks for watching. Game on, baby.